Yeah. Cool. And so then, so actually one of my students was a makeup artist. And so one of the really neat things that you guys should always think about is that when you're learning coding, I always emphasize to people, you're fusing ideas. You're not like, don't think of it as rebooting your career. You're kind of amplifying it. And what it is, you're taking a skill set in conjunction with the skill set that you have. So my makeup artist, she learned coding. And one of the things is that because she learned how to code, she became a really valuable asset to the fashion industry. Because I don't know if you know any IT people, but IT people are kind of weird, and so like we're kind of like socially awkward. So imagine the communication breakdown from someone that's very artistic, like someone in the fashion industry, with someone who codes. And so by you learning how to code, you can kind of bring your talents and your understanding of how the fashion industry works, and then you can fuse it with coding. And so that will make you a very valuable asset. So, like an example, like you could be in between the client and the developers. So you can be like understanding what the client wants, and then you can be like a technical project manager and communicate with the developers, because the developers, maybe they don't want to talk with the clients and they don't understand them, and so you would kind of be that intermediary. So there's really so many possibilities by learning how to code, because you're effectively, what you're really doing is you're learning how to use computers to an expert elite level. And so that allows you to implement better solutions than somebody who doesn't really understand how coding works, you know?
Yeah, I kind of considered it like learning to talk to computers.
Yes. Yes. Yeah. And there's so few people in this world who can do it. So that's why if you can prove that you can do it, then it's going to really push you to the top. In addition, you are a female, and the whole industry is largely men. And with the whole diversity push, women are at a sizable advantage to getting a job, because every company is trying to diversify their IT staff. And so as a female, that's going to just make it look a lot better than having like, 15 guys, on your team. So a lot of companies are slanting their hiring practices towards women. So that is a big advantage you can have. And again, especially if you can talk the talk, walk the walk in the industry, it's a meritocracy. So for you to be able to present stuff to people and communicate with them and bring in what your knowledge and experience is fused with being understanding computers, that's going to make you very valuable. And you can make it like an iPhone app. I'm sure there's some sort of makeup app that you can do that would be really killer. I mean, these are ideas that men have a hard time understanding what you guys need as a woman, you know? How about anyone else? Anyone else want to share why they want to learn how to code? Anyone want to share?
I want to learn to code because I'm trying to get into data analyst, and I want to be able to improve my portfolio.
Yeah, that's great. What do you do now?
Right now, I'm just going from temp job to temp job, mostly like account work.
Like an accountant?
Yeah, like account clerk. And so I got into coding through VBA, where I was just making macros and stuff. And
Nice, nice.
yeah, so I'm looking to see if I can do a little bit more, just because of how fun it was.
Yeah, that's fantastic. Yeah, data analysts, they're so desperate for coders. I mean, there's just you guys. It just opens up your ability to what you can do. So if you're, like if you're limited to working just on Excel, you can, like, one of the whole things that you're limited to, like, I don't know, 2, 3,000 rows. But then if you're able to tap into databases. It opens up to you being able to access anything. So one of my students used to work in finance, and I don't really understand a lot of the finance jobs. There's so many analyst job, so I don't really understand what he did. But he was doing finance analyst stuff, and he learned how to code with me. And what happened is that when he learned how to code, he would apply to places saying, "I know how to code and I know finance." And so he got a job in Airbnb to basically, doing research, data analytical research. And so what they do is they say this, okay, like you have access, they have what is called like a self-serving data culture. So they say like, okay, you have access to our whole data trove. Tell us what to do to increase our profits. And so then his onus is on him to go and like sift through the data, figure out why is LA making less money per host than San Diego or something. And then he would have to go and try to figure out what the reasoning is using the analytics and then come out with a proposal. Hey, we believe that LA is not generating the income that San Diego is, even though it's more populated, because we don't have as many hosts or something like that, right? And so that's what you could do. And that's how the job works. But if he did not know how to code, that job would not be available to him because they don't work in Excel. That's too small. The data sets are huge and they can't export the data into Excel when they're working with millions of lines of code, millions of rows of data. So that's why, especially with the tech companies and bigger data sets, coding is becoming more and more an imperative.
So in terms of like a data analyst, what are the most necessary like imports or modules, or I'm not sure what you call them? Like for example, like pandas, matplotlib, and Selenium, NumPy.
Yeah, I think you learn those. That's going to put you in good position. Yeah. To be honest, I don't know that myself too much, but those are the main one. You have pandas and NumPy. If you know those two, I'm sure the rest will kind of fall into play.
What do you like better, Beautiful Soup or Selenium?
I never use Selenium, so I only know Beautiful Soup. So Beautiful Soup has just been very effective for me.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah. Cool. Anyone else have any questions before we get started? No? Nobody? Okay. So just to kind of introduce myself, my name is AJ. I teach at Popcorn Robot, which is a coding mentorship school. I also teach at UCLA, and I've been teaching there on about 4 or 5 years now. Before that, I used to be a software consultant in the field. So I used to code, and we like some of my clients were like Honda, the automotive company, Fox, before they went crazy, and then Allergan, which is like a $1 billion pharmaceutical company. I think they do like the Botox stuff. I think you guys all know who they are without knowing who they are. But yeah, anyways, so those are some of my clients. I went into education because I thought that we can do a better job in teaching how to code. Bottom line is that coding is really a huge thing in terms of changing the world. So that's why I always think it's really great that you guys are here and learning it, because hold on a second. Link out to you guys. That's going to be a link to the course. And let me share my screen. Wait. Can't do it there. All right, there we go. Okay. Here's a link to the page. Okay. So yeah, so code is huge. Like you said, it's being able to speak to robots. Less than 2% of the world has a coding job. So that means less than 2% of the world is controlling what computers are doing. So that's one of the reasons why I was saying to, I don't know what her name, Creation C is, but anyways, when she was talking about she's in you know, she does like hairstylist or something, that really shows you that we are limited to, if 95% of developers are male, that means we're not getting that 5% of the female perspective. And so that's why it's one of the awesome things why the more coders we have in the world, the better, because you guys can start to use these robots to solve your problems for you and bring in your ideas and bring in your solutions and the way you think about things and view things. So if we are controlled by a small 1.5 percentile, we are still limited in terms of what our software can really do. So that's where you guys can come in. And so if you guys have ideas or thoughts about how to solve things or whatever, like that is something that you guys can change. And so that's why if you talk to any developer, they're almost all closet entrepreneurs. And the reason is that if you were to, if you were to create a restaurant, you need like $500,000 just to basically get started. And that's like cheap. But then if you code, you can create an app, you can create your own video game, you create your own website, and boom, you're done. And you can have your whole distribution channel all being handled. And so that's why coding is really powerful and why it's one of the most powerful skills you can learn today. It is the most in-demand skill. And so if you learn how to do this, because there's so few people who can do it, you're going to be very valuable in the market. So think about everything that you care about. What is it that you want? You want to work remotely? You want to get better pay? You want freedom? You want to do something that's creative, stable, whatever. All these ideas, they're all rely on a singular thing, which is you have to prove worth to the job market. You have to be valuable. So if you can be in that top 1% that can communicate to robots, then you are immediately more powerful than everyone else because you can use leverage. Computers work nonstop, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. They don't ask for a pay raise and they don't complain about wages. They don't take sick time. And that's why computers are so powerful. So I forgot what it was. Someone said, was it Billy? Talked about how, I think you talked about how you do like accounting stuff. So like one of the examples of that is, if you one of these girls I met, she said that she spends 2 hours a day cleaning up her data in her Excel sheet. And so that if let's say she gets paid $80,000 a year. I don't know what she gets paid, but let's say it's 80,000. Then that means the company is paying $20,000 a year for her to clean up her Excel data. Whereas if I were just sitting in her place, I would have been able to write a script and clean that up and I don't even have that 2 hours is recouped to me. So then think about how that kind of accentuates and amplifies. And so then that makes me super valuable because me as a coder, now I can solve problems for people, for the company that doesn't cost any money. And now what used to cost $20,000 to the company now costs nothing for however many analysts. I mean, it could be 5 analysts doing the same problem. Spending $20,000 a year for 5 analysts is $100,000. But imagine if a coder just came in, fixed the data, boom, $100,000 saved. You can see how the value comes in really quickly. So I want to kind of take a look into how coding has worked. So one of the kind of neat things about things, you can kind of look back. And it's funny, coding is moving so fast, you don't even have to look back that far anymore. But if you're as old as me, 20 years ago, you have to remember there used to be things called magazines. And back then, like that was when you watch a magazine and you go read magazines, you could see like the editors and writers bringing out the best content for you every month. So if you're going to read video games or gossip or makeup or movies, music, like you can subscribe to these type of magazines so you can get the latest stuff. But what happened? The internet came. And so that obliterated that industry among many other industries that we're seeing on a monthly basis. And so now what it is that we have people writing content for free online all the time. People are editing and upvoting on Reddit, so you're always getting delivered the latest, greatest content. It's like, I've been reading like the Lakers Reddit subreddit, and it's hilarious. These people are just hilarious, and they're just working for free. And the whole thing is we only can get to this because of computers and the connections that we have in between each other. So now you can, from the middle of nowhere, send a tweet that can be blasted to the whole world. And that's an amazing, amazing thing that we have nowadays in this world. And we don't even, it's funny because we don't even realize how amazing it is, but that's how amazing. We're living in science fiction world, like we're experiencing science fiction like real time, and it's crazy. And so now there's so much content out there that we've effectively eliminated boredom. That's the thing that you guys don't even, I don't even know how old you guys are, but we used to be bored as human beings. Nowadays, I don't even know what that feels like anymore. I'm like, it's like, I'm like numb to being bored now. I can't even imagine it. But yeah, I used to be bored when we were younger. But now with your phone, there's really no reason to be bored because you can always just read up stuff. And now we're addicted to our phones. Like we can't stop looking at it. So now computers are getting so powerful that now it's even like now it's becoming ethical problems. I mean, are we manipulating the masses? Are we hiding information? Are we, like look at the COVID stuff. Like people were like asking, oh, should we like allow COVID people to talk against the COVID vaccine? And now the vaccine's kind of like, is this shady? We don't know yet right now. And so now there's like a pushback, right? The whole Elon Musk and Twitter thing. And AI, that's another big one. So AI is becoming so huge that now, like, look at this. You see this picture? This is Spider-Man in ancient Rome. This is a AI generated picture. It's not even real, but look at how real it is. It's exactly what you would imagine would be created in ancient Rome if they knew what Spider-Man was. And so, like, we're getting to the point where AI is starting to decimate huge amounts of industries simultaneously. So, like, marketing, sales, I mean, all these industries, they're all going to be attacked. And art, even coding, is going to change the face of coding. And so the thing about it is that there's always going to be a need for people who understand computers on a higher, more technical level. And then, so that's why, since we know that computers are going to be more important than less important, you want to be on that edge where you have strong technical knowledge so you can implement solutions that other normies can't, because you know more than everyone else. You understand how technology works better than other people. And so if you can start to use and leverage AI to solve problems that other people can't do because they don't understand how it works, they don't know how to use it to its, highest levels, that's where you can bring in your value. You want that dream life of being stable, have a good income, work remotely, all that stuff. That stuff comes when you bring immense value. And the more powerful technology becomes, the better you are at being a technologist in terms of skill level, then the more valuable you become. And the way technology works is an amplifier, right? So the better you are, the more amazing you will be. But then if you're not so amazing, then you're going to be limited to where everyone else is at. So that's kind of the whole thing. All right. So the coding fundamentals. There's really 4 basic lines of code: the statement, the variables, conditions, and loops. Okay. Mainly 4 things in terms of learning a language. And we're going to learn 2 of them. So that's pretty good. What we're going to do is, what I want you guys to do is, I want you guys to all click this link called Replit. And what it is that you are going to be creating an account. And what you will do is that you are going to write, kind of like how most people, like, analysts use Excel to do their data crunching. We use IDEs in order to code. And so Replit is going to be your IDE. So if you guys don't have an account on it right now, go ahead and do it. And then I'm going to help you get started once you do. Okay. So go ahead and do that now, and I'll give you guys a few minutes to get started. Hello, Lily. What I want you to do is, hi, Lily. I don't know if you can hear me. What I want you to do is click on that link. And more importantly, I want you to create an account on this Replit. Create an account on this Replit page. And when you get there, let me know when you're done. Okay. So everyone get onto your Replit, create that account. And I'm going to show you how to make a simple application. Got to be coders. Let me know when you guys are kind of done with signing up with account. Arush done. Very good. Lazaro. Okay, very good. Seems like most people are done. All right. Then let me show you how it works. When you get to this Replit page, what I want you to do is click on this Create REPL button. That's going to bring up this window. You're going to select Python. Ignore this title. Don't worry, that's randomly generated, not important. You're going to click the template Python and then click Create REPL. And then it's going to create this screen here. So go ahead and do that now and join up with me once you're done. Click on the Create REPL button. Let me get back. You're going to click on the Create REPL button right here. Click on Python and then click on Create REPL, the button. Okay? So Create REPL, Python. Ignore the title. Don't worry about that. Create REPL. And then you're going to get this screen. When you get here, let me know, and I'll guide you guys from this point. Anyone not on this page? Oh, you sure? Okay, that's fine. Anyone not on this page? Can I move on? Seems like it. Everyone's good, right? All right. So this complicated looking page is actually quite simple. So what we're going to do is, okay, there's 3 panels right now, right? This panel doesn't even mean anything for us right now. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use my cursor. You can use it to kind of drag it. I'm going to close it. So, okay, I'm going to close it to the left. Boom. So now I only have 2 panels. So 2 panels are all I really care about. So I just went and reduced our complexity 33%. It's good numbers. You can go and do the same thing as well. Okay. All right. This is how coding works. We are going to create the most simple app we can make. And that is called a console application. Okay. What we're going to do is we're going to write our code in main.py. Then we're going to press this green run button. And then the console is going to spit out whatever our code tells us to do. So when you're clicking on the run button, the way you want to imagine it is as like pressing on Instagram on your phone. The Instagram app, when you click on that, or the TikTok app, it's opening the app and showing you all those videos and pictures of those beautiful people, right? That's what you're doing when you click on the run button. Except our app is just smaller, sizably smaller. So, but that's the same thing. So let's go. I'm going to show you this first line of code. What do you want to do? So let's go Let's go here first. So what we're going to do, the first thing is we're going to get our app to speak. We want our app to talk to us. We can get the app to talk to us. It can communicate to us. It can tell us the problems the application is going to have, right? That's kind of the goal to begin with. So what I want you guys to do for problem number 1 is copy this line of code, which is under number 1, and then paste it inside here. And then you're going to have this line 1 with this line of code, and you're going to click run. And that is going to show you hello world. Beautiful. And that is going to show you your first application you ever created. Congratulations, you are a coder. So go ahead and do that now. And then when you're done with that, come back to me. And I'm going to tell you one more thing before I let you guys off. You good? Anyone else good? Veronica, you good? Billy, you good? Arush? Demetrius? Jesus? Yeah, you good? Okay. All right. So one last thing before I let you guys loose. What is in between these apostrophes? It could be, actually, it could be a quotation marks. I don't know why I did apostrophes. It should have been quotation marks. Then it'd be easier for you to memorize. Anyways, anything in between this is called a string. That's a data type. It's called a string. And what it is that that's going to represent anything that is text, like, words, messages, any of that stuff. So whatever you change here is going to be what prints out into the console. So I just want you to keep in mind that this is a string right now, because we're going to use that later on in the data types. But just think about it. There's a data type called string, and whatever it is just handling text. So what I want you to do is complete exercise number 1. When you guys are done, go ahead and give me a thumbs up or message in the chat telling me you're done. Okay? And then we'll move on to exercise number 2. If you have any questions, feel free to ask. That's what I'm here for. Here to help you guys out. It's my job. Yeah. You got a question? Oh, you're done. Very good. Oh, you guys are fast. Anyone else done? Give you guys like 1 more minute. Oh, sweet. Man, you guys are fast. Very good. Veronica, you good? All right. I'll give you 1 minute and then I'll move on. Sweet. Anyone have any questions in the meantime? No? Okay. All right. We're going to go through number 2. All right. So you guys have successfully got your application to send a message to us human beings. So you're able to get your application to talk to us. But now what we have to do is we got to get it to remember stuff for us. Okay. We want it to remember stuff. And if you want to think about it, what we're going to use, we're going to use things called variables. I don't know if you remember algebra math, but don't worry, you don't need to remember much. You just need to know if x equals 2, then x is holding data 2. That's really what you need to know. The whole thing about do you need to be good at math to do coding well? I don't see it. I'm not really particularly good at math right now after having worked on code for almost 2 decades. Like I don't really see it. I don't know what the correlation is. But if you want to imagine it, variables are almost like truck containers, right? And they're holding inventory. But in the digital world, inventory, the stuff that we're shipping around, it's not toilet paper and clothes, it's data. So imagine that, like, if you wanted to, buy something from the store, you go buy, like, clothes and decorations and stuff, and you can bring it home. That's the inventory. In the data world, imagine you wanted to get a cab so you can go to the airport. So what it is that you're sending a signal, a data signal, saying, I'm at this coordinate location. I would like somebody to pick me up to take me to the airport. And then Uber will go and find the closest taxi driver, and then and then and then summon that person so they can come pick you up and take you to the airport. So the moving inventory there is data, because we're using the data to kind of solve problems and kind of coordinate and get people to move to each other. So same thing. You watch Netflix, you like Christopher Nolan movies, then I'm going to give you and suggest to you movies of that are similar to people who like other Christopher Nolan movies. So it kind of works like that. So data is a big thing. So let's go and copy this. I got a little test for you guys. Before I go to the test, I do want to show you a little neat trick. Let's say that you guys want to, so right now, this code is going to run, right? It's going to be affected on here. But let's say that, imagine that you're like, oh, like my console output is becoming very cluttered. So how do I delete this? You delete it, but sometimes you want to keep it for reference, right? So what you do is you will highlight the code that you want to, it's called commenting it out, so you can remove it from being run. And if you are on a Mac, you press command question mark. And then if you're on a Windows, you press control question mark. So if I do that, now line 7 and 8 are commented out. So now it won't run anymore. Whereas if I press it again, for me, I'm on a Mac, so command question mark, that's going to uncomment it out. So you can kind of toggle it. So I want to comment it out because that's not the line of code I want to run right now. So you guys can go toy that one in your own time. But okay, I do want to test you guys. What do you think will be printed out in these 2 lines of code, line 2 and 3? Somebody give me an answer. Line 2 and 3. What is line 2 and 3 going to print out? Michael Jackson, what? Arush. Why is Arush saying Michael Jackson name? Anyone know why? Do you want to explain why, Arush? Very good. Yes. So what he's saying is that name is a variable, and it's storing the data type Michael Jackson. It's storing Michael Jackson, and it's a data type string. Okay. All you really need to care about, though, is storing data Michael Jackson. Now, if you print name, that is going to print the variable Michael Jackson. However, if you have quotation marks around it, it will print the literal word name. So that's why you have to be careful, because a quotation mark can be the difference between success and utter defeat. So if you have no quotation marks, it's going to assume you're going to be printing the variable, which has a value. If you do have quotation marks, it's going to be literal. And to prove that, he is right. Michael Jackson, printing the variable, and name, printing the literal because it has quotation marks. So now you guys continue on and you can finish the problems. And let me know when you guys have questions. Lily, you did the lessons before?
Oh yes, actually, yes, several.
Oh, very good.
Yeah.
You know what? I'm actually creating. I have a YouTube channel. One of the reasons I can't compile a whole series is people usually miss one or two or whatever, and so then once you miss, if you're not committed to it, then it's hard to for everyone to make it to a schedule. So I'm actually making a YouTube channel. I do want to share that with you. I just made the video today, so I haven't been released yet. But what it is that on that YouTube channel, I'm going to create on that YouTube channel, I'm going to have a series of lessons so that then I can start to do series of lessons. So then we can go past further than just 201, 101, because right now I'm limited to that because a lot of people aren't consistent. But with the YouTube channel, I'm going to be able to have like a playlist. So then you can kind of go down the videos and learn, like, I don't know, 5, 10, or, class lessons or whatever. So go ahead. I would recommend you subscribe to it so that when I do get those classes out, you can follow along.
Oh, thank you. I just curious a lot.
You're curious what? Sorry, you cut out. What did you say? I lost you. Sorry. Lost you. You back, Lily?
Yeah, you know what? Sorry, I'm having also online security problems. So
Oh,
somebody I'm gonna tell. I was just trying to say. I don't know how much you heard what I was trying to say.
I didn't hear anything. What did you try to say?
Yeah, I was trying to say in my last lesson, the teacher even said you can just write a few like codes of Python, and then you can do like machine learning, like neural network or whatever, like AI stuff. Is that really true? I mean, if you get to that level,
It's not a few lines of code. it's an oversimplification. It's not that. It's quite complicated.
Okay.
You have to understand how the data works and how to do all that stuff.
All right. Yeah.
Do you have a rudimentary understanding of statistics?
Sorry. Yeah, I did try to do no, not really. But all I know is you like how you grade the curves and yeah, but statistics you can probably pick up with some YouTube lessons probably. I imagine.
Possibly.
Okay.
So what it is that if you want to know what machine learning and that type of stuff is, it's effectively, think about it, is you have a statistician and you have a coder. And someone that does machine learning is better, or like data science, they are better at, they're not as good at statistics as a statistician, and they're not as good of a coder as a coder. So they're somewhere in the middle. Think of a Venn diagram, right? They're kind of in the middle. So that's what data scientists are. I do have to kind of douse you with water a little bit on this. There is not nearly as many jobs in data science and machine learning as the marketers make it out to be. They're I'll tell you, there's not many. There's you have to go to a big company or medical research. Those are the big ones that I've seen. The rest, it's a lot less. My friend who's a sound software engineering manager at SoundCloud, he's managing the data team, and he actually told me that be careful about moving people into data science, because they act like, he said that the thing is, you got to look at it like this. When the funds get short, when money is short, the first ones to get eliminated are the data scientists. So the reason being is that data scientists they don't create stuff. They're just analyzing. And they're also expensive, because you have data analysts, which are cheap and can give you about 60 to 80% of the information you need, or you can pay 200, 300,000 for a PhD, statistician that can do high-end data science and machine learning. However, they're only getting that last 30, 40%. You know what I mean? So that in turn doesn't have as many jobs out there as you would think. I was very surprised at how few jobs there are in data science. So I would be careful. I'm not trying to dissuade you to go there. That's not the right word. I would say, what I'm saying is research it first. So go onto some sort of job searching portal like Indeed or LinkedIn or something, and look up data science jobs and see how many jobs there are. Is there as many jobs as you think there are? Or do you have the qualifications? Because the jobs that I see are largely requiring PhD degrees. You need that because there are so few jobs that they make the metrics so high because there's so few of them.
Sure. Okay.
So
Thank you.
I do recommend you guys research that, see if that is giving you what the marketers are telling you, because in the end, if you had to choose between 5 software developers or 5 machine learners, you'd probably go with the 5 software developers, because they can actually create things that are tangible to your, tangible to progress and moving forward. So just be thoughtful about that, because I don't want you guys to look into go and invest yourself into something that may not have the payoff. And the only way you can do it is just by, like I said, you go to a job portal like LinkedIn and you go and search up data science jobs and see, do they require PhD degrees? If so, it's probably because there's not many jobs out there, so that the competition is extremely high for the amount of people who are trying to get into it. So then they just create a very high metric.
Thank you, AJ.
Yeah.
Thank you for your insight. Oh yeah, I understand. How many Chat GPT? There's one Chat GPT in 1 year came out, right? I got you. It's very high level. I know. Python, but Python jobs. Yeah, but just with Python, it's a skill. It's very. I saw on like Chinese website, like a girl just learned Python. She earned a lot of money just doing Python. Machine learning is just too high level. I know.
Yeah,
Thank you.
specific.
Yeah, let's focus on what people are here for. Thank you, though. Thank you for your insight.
Yeah. So when it comes to coding, it's very different than data science, because data science is very limited, because you're only going to have big companies do it with large amounts of data. And like I said, my own friend in SoundCloud who was managing a data team, he was very concerned, because he said, whenever we get cuts, we're always the first one to be looked at, because we're not actually creating something. But coding is very different, because coding, there is so many ways you can apply it. You can be automating a million things and reducing the amount of labor. And so that's why coding itself is very valuable. There's more jobs outside of the tech industry and for coding than there are inside the tech industry. And more industries are moving towards coding because they're trying to automate and remove stuff. And like, just to give you an example, one of my students, he works in a clothing embroidery company. And what happens is that, like, before, when you would order, like you would order customization to say like AJ on my shirt, and they would have to move it by hand, take the order, and then by hand, put it into the system. But now they have the whole thing streamlined so that once the person makes an order, it immediately goes into the embroidery machinery and it just pumps it out, and then they ship it, whatever. There's no more hand work. And so that is really critical to proving the value, so that now they can lower the cost of customizations because it's super valuable. So that's the way you want to think. Man, Arush, you're good. You're very fast. Do you have any questions, Arush? No. Why do you want to learn how to code? What's your story? Oh, nice. How's that coming along? Nice, nice. Very good. Are you in high school? Oh, man. You're doing AP, or you're going to freshen up for AP? Dang, that's good. Wow. Impressive. Well done. Yeah, I actually want to go and create an AP computer science course in the relatively near future. That's something else I want to do. The way they teach coding in these computer science books is crazy. Anyone have any questions? Man, you guys are pretty good. Usually I have a lot of questions. No questions or anything? No struggles? Demetrius, do you have any problems? You don't have any problems, Demetrius? Why do you want to learn coding?
I'm just here to kind of take a look at the Python interface.
Oh, cool. Why do you want to learn coding though? Are you trying to do something with it?
I do a little bit of a ready and I'm just, like I said, just trying to learn more about Python and stuff, kind of see the syntax and everything on it. So.
Oh, you already code?
Yeah.
Oh, what do you do?
I'm actually an analyst.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Nice. Yeah, that's really good. And so like you do like VBA?
I do a lot of VBA, Excel, Power BI,
Dude,
things like that. Yeah, I'm learning. I started learning like M code and everything for Power BI in the background.
Wow, that's real good.
So, and I know Python's out there, and I mess with Raspberry Pis and stuff like that too. So I know like I've done some coding in Raspberry Pis before, but it's mostly kind of like, quote unquote script kidding in a sense, but grabbing some code, pasting it together. But that's how you do it.
Dude, that's huge. Yeah, you people who know Excel pick up coding really quickly because you guys can visualize data really well. So it's really powerful. How do you like doing analysts?
It's fun. It's not a boring job. I do it with supply planning, so I get a lot of data in, and then like how you said, when you get like people, when I first started out, actually 20 years ago or so, while I was going to college, I started off as electrical engineering.
Really?
That was like my study that I wanted to go into, and then I started taking your basic classes with your Excel and Office courses and stuff like that. And then once I asked the instructor, like, oh, well, what happens if I want to do this? Oh, well, you got to take the advanced Excel. Okay, so I took the advanced Excel. Like, okay, well, what if you want to get it to do this automatically or something? Oh, well, you got to go take some programming courses. So I took a QBasic course and just learned business basic programming. But with that little bit of information there, while I was working in Excel and doing all this stuff with like VB, pretty basic, and most computers have Excel and VB in the background. You can practice a lot in there. So one of the things I did while I was going to college was, after I was done, I wasn't working or anything at the time, but I was done with the courses, but I didn't want to forget, and I wanted to keep improving my programming skills. So I just kind of decided, well, let me try to make something in Excel other than, trying to figure out your finances and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So I decided to make a game in Excel. So I just
Wow.
kind of thought like, okay, what game makes sense in Excel? And I saw, you have your A1, B1, C1, all that stuff. So I actually started just designing from scratch, barely knowing the basics, like the variables and things like how we're learning right now. I just thought like A1, B1, just first thing that came to mind was Battleship. So I just started coding Battleship, like putting the layout. Then, okay, how do I tell it I want to click on something? Had to Google that. And then, okay, how do I tell it to do something after I click on it? Google that. So I just kind of learned over the years and everything. But yeah, other than that, like you said, from there, I just kept progressing and learning more as I went along and as I worked in the business.
Have you considered coding?
I've done not necessarily professionally, like you said. I write the coding for business programs and for analytics and things like that. I have written some.
Well, why not? Well, how come you don't consider doing coding?
I don't know if I know the industry that I would necessarily go into. Like I said, I do have like electrical engineering background. And I have learned how to do machine code and stuff like that too, with like Pick Basics chips and stuff like that.
Right.
I've done some of that before, and I've actually done projects for work as well, where I like designed a performance tracking system for a manufacturing supply or manufacturing floor to see like how many pieces are going through a particular station or something like that, and for it to register back into Excel sheets and on the web, and then back into the screen or whatever, so that way they can see like if that station's in the red, yellow, or green area for their performance and stuff like that. But I've done like a lot of coding throughout the years and everything.
I have an intuition about people,
Mhm.
and I bet you would be a really good coder.
I think it's the freedom of it too.
Yeah. No, because I can see like you can hear coders in their voice, and I can hear the way you're approaching problems, which is why, to me, your success rate in coding is extremely high. I'm gonna tell you, I'm like a psychic in this. I am so good at this. I can pinpoint. So far, I've never been wrong. And I can tell you right now, if you ever decided to learn coding, you'd be the one of the top people out there.
Yeah, I definitely want to like do it on the side and write some of my own scripts and things like that.
If you ever take it seriously and be committed to it, I think it will amplify your job prospects tremendously, because having data knowledge and coding knowledge and like high-end coding knowledge, it's going to make you an absolute terror in the job market, because then you're going to be making people compete for you like crazy, because you're fusing two extremely powerful fields together in a way that's extraordinarily powerful. So yeah, if I would say, I know you're kind of thinking like, just not professionally, but man, if you ever want to do it professionally, like you have to, I really want to give Popcorn Robot a chance, because I think I can just project it. I can see the way that you think, that you sound like a coder, and I think that you would like it. And I think you would be a real top end talent.
What's the difference between what he's doing now and code? Because it sounds like he is kind of doing something code-ish.
It's just the degree of it, right? So, I mean, I think that when you become trained, then you have more freedom to go further and do more things and create bigger things. So it's just a degree.
So what is the data aspect? How is that different?
I think if anything,
go ahead.
I think if anything, it's a little bit of my primary position. Also, my primary position is doing analytics to figure out supply planning. So figuring out how much raw material we need, where we're going to get it from, where we're going to send it to. And you can do that in an Excel spreadsheets and things that some other coders already designed for you already. You're a user at that point still with that information, the data. But for you to be the coder and the one that's actually doing it would be the person that's creating the algorithms for it in the background that help things to process quicker.
So what I'm hearing is that you're examining all the factors.
Yes, and like you're saying, you definitely need to have that, like somewhat of the, you kind of develop that mindset of like the logic of coding. So like I said, I do, perform coding in my job, my day-to-day job. I've written programs for work, but it's not my necessarily my position itself. I'm not a coder per se. I do coding, but I am not a coder at this point, like professionally as a coder, or someone that's doing that as the primary job, where you can take on jobs or work for a company as their main coder for them.
I see.
Yeah, honestly, Demetrius, I bet you, I don't know how much you're getting paid, but if you gave me 1 year, I guarantee you I can almost double your salary. That's how impactful it is.
Yeah.
So
Go
is
ahead.
coding then how to utilize the data that you're collecting?
Somewhat. It actually helps automate most of my processes. So anything that I have to do repetitively, that's what I'll usually bring on coding into it to help get it faster. And I have, like I said, in my position, I have written code for coworkers and also for some of our other personnel that work for us as well, to make their jobs easier, to gather the data for them a little bit quicker.
Did you gain that understanding of how to write that code from your job?
No, I had to do that on my own. I did that on my own, either from classes, courses, online videos, or just kind of trial and error and Google searches. And that's the one thing, like with the internet that we have today, it's we have so much available to us to be able to get this information. Just like today, I mean, we didn't have like this capability 20 years ago. Like I said, I was in QBasic, was where everything was written in console. We were writing console programs. We were actually writing programs in console. But yeah, with it, has having the knowledge of coding to the degree that I've had over the years, and that I've improved upon over the years as well, has definitely helps to accelerate my path in the company. So right now I work for corporate right now for a major manufacturing company, and there's only 4 of us on our team that are the analysts for 16 clients in the United States, and a few dozen other ones throughout the world. But the coding is what actually helped me to get into the position that I'm in right now. That was one of the reasons why they did actually seek me out from the plant level and say, hey, we want you on our corporate team because we want you to help to make our processes more efficient with the coding that you do.
From my limited knowledge, but the hardest part coding is the algorithm, isn't it, AJ? Is an algorithm, the way they get to do things. It's almost like a Lego set, right? A Lego set, but you have to have a central theme. So that theme is the algorithm, isn't it?
Okay, so algorithm is just a process to solve a problem. That's all it is. So like, for instance, if you're what's an algorithm? Like an algorithm, honestly, starting your car is an algorithm. It's a process. So if you need to start your car, what do? You need to get your keys. You need to unlock the door. You need to then open the door. Then you insert the keys into the ignition and then turn it on, right? That's an algorithm. It's a process. And then this process can be implemented on multiple cars. So you can work on a Honda, it can work on a BMW, it can work on a truck. That's an algorithm. So the algorithms, the reason why people focus on algorithms is that it's in the technical interview, but that's not really where you are bringing your value. Your value is by solving problems. So going back to what Demetrius was doing, like, let me kind of show you how it's like a magnitude of greater and greater, right? So let's say hypothetically you're a data analyst, but you have no coding skills. Then you're limited to working on Excel and whatever buttons they provide for you. So you're limited to what you can analyze. So your solutions and your analysis and answers will be limited to that. However, you add coding, then it expands. Then let's say that he learns how to do SQL queries and all that stuff. Then he can now, instead of dealing with just a Excel sheet that can only hold, 2,000-3,000 lines of code. I don't know how many rows it can hold, but then it can go into the millions of rows, right? That's something that Excel cannot do. let's say that he, for whatever reason, let's say for manufacturing, he has, one of the things he can do is he can actually monitor consumer sentiment. And for some reason, consumer sentiment or whatever, something that moves dynamically on a daily basis, maybe that can affect his analysis. So then what if he was a coder and then he was able to retrieve data that can kind of judge what the consumer sentiment is? Are they positive? Are they afraid of a recession? And then he can start to anticipate problems before they come in. So he's just opening up his ability to solve problems. And that's what coding does. It's just leveraging computers to solve things that we cannot do. So in normal world, we're limited if we don't know how to code to like Excel sheets. It's limited to what the buttons we have and whatever the Excel sheet can hold. But once you add coding, it just keeps opening it up and opening it up, because then you are actually accessing the computer's intelligence itself. You're commanding the computer on a level that's much higher than somebody who has no coding abilities. So that's how you want to that's what it is. So that's why AI stuff, coding, these are just tools. And what it is that as you guys get better at technology, then you learn how to leverage it on a higher level and you become a better technologist and solve problems that other people cannot do. So that's what coding is. It's using computers on the highest level so you can get the most specific results you're looking for. And if not, you're limited to whatever you can do based on the tool set you're given. Does that make sense? Any questions? No? Is Arush here anymore, or is he gone? Oh, he's gone. Shoot. Anyways, if there's no more questions, sorry, that's great that you did it for me. If there's no more questions, so I always want to congratulate you guys, one, for coming out here and spending your time. You guys all could have been watching Netflix, or you all could have been eating ice cream right now, but you guys decided to come out and try to improve your life. So I really want to applaud you for that. Changing your life is really something that not a lot of people want to apply the effort into. If any of you guys are interested in learning how to code, I encourage you guys to book a free class just to see what the class looks like and then what it's like to work in the school. And you can actually see what the other students are working on and so on and so forth. But it's really cool. We're doing some amazing things and our students are learning a boat ton. So kind of talking about Demetrius, one of the reasons why I was so bold to say that I can think we can double his salary in 1 year is because my students do that. They will get out and double their salary because, again, now they're not just an analyst, but they're an analyst that can code. And so what it is that when you hit that top 1%, then you can amplify tremendously. And so when you're an analyst and you're the only top 1% of analysts who can code, that puts you in the top of your field. So that's why it's a really great skill to learn, because it will transform your life. And so our students, one of my students went from being broke and almost being homeless to now driving his dream car and looking to buy a property in LA. And as you guys all know, what LA real estate prices, that's insane. And so that just comes down to, putting in the work and learning a skill, in-demand skill that will really elevate you and give you the life that you want. So that's what I always tell to my students. Really figure out what life do you want? And kind of, when you do that, kind of cultivate a value for yourself. So if you want to work remotely, if you want a higher salary, whatever, get a real good picture of what that is, and then start to add value to yourself so that when you hit the job market, employers will, it's going to open up so many career opportunities, and employers will have a hard time not hiring you, and they're going to compete after you. And at that point, the world becomes your oyster. So for me, one of the things I valued was time. And so for me, I would take 3 months off out of the year. I only worked 9 months of the year, and I was able to accomplish that because I was a good coder and I was a valuable asset that companies could not replace. And so then I only worked 9 months of the year and traveled for 3 months of the year. And you can do whatever you want. One of my coworkers was living in Germany and he never came home. And that's just because he was so good that no one could replace him. And again, you guys figure out what you want. You insert the value into yourself, especially with an in-demand skill that every industry wants. And then you can start to cultivate the dream world that you want. So that's the end of my class today. Does anyone have any questions before we end it? No questions? Oh, you guys are super quiet. You're like one of the quietest classes we've had. No questions at all? Okay. Then have a good night. And hope to see you guys next class. Next class, I think is, oh yeah, what's up?
Sorry, I just meant to give a thumbs up.
Okay, all right. So yeah, I think next class, I don't remember when the next class is actually. Let me look it up. But I think it's like a month from now because I am going on a trip. But then that'll be when we're going to do a 201 and you can actually see how this kind of builds on itself. And yep, as well, if you guys want to, yeah, the next one's April 5th. April 5th, I think is the next one. Yep. Okay. So then if also one of the problems with Meetup is that, again, it's difficult to get people to come into a chain of classes. So if you do go up to my YouTube channel, I'm going to start to release out videos so that you can actually follow along with more and more classes. So I'm going to chain a lot more classes on the YouTube channel, something that I can't do on Meetup, because if you miss one class and then you don't understand the next class, and then it kind of bumbles everything up. So I also recommend you guys follow my YouTube channel if you guys need me. Then you guys will be able to follow more coding stuff as well. Okay. All right. No more. Nothing else from anyone else?
Oh, sorry. Just one last question.
Yeah.
Yeah. I just curious. There's something called Tableau. So is that basically kind of like Excel with pictures? Because I'm very visual, and when I learned a bit about Tableau, it sounds like fun. First of all, it sounds like fun. You can, use all this data and then graphic. But is there, as far as you know, is there a lot really job demand for that, or it's more
I
like
think Tableau is pretty popular. Demetrius will probably know more than me.
Okay.
Demetrius, do you know about Tableau?
Tableau? I've heard the name. I'm trying to figure. I've never used it. We primarily use Microsoft. Like I said, PowerPoint,
Access,
Power BI, and
Power BI.
Yeah, we use Power BI, Power Query, and Excel for a majority of our kind of data. And we also use Dynamic AX, but we don't really get to do much coding in that. That's all user based at that point, though.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure Tableau is pretty popular. I've heard a lot about it. Visualizing data. I mean, that's the whole thing. It's just trying. The whole thing is this. If you wanted to sum it, it's just very simple. It's companies want to make more money, right? Because they have to pay us. I don't think that's an evil thing. I don't know why people think it's really evil. Because we go into the office to get paid, and if we don't get paid, then we don't go to the office. So I'm the same way. I'm going in to get paid, just like how the companies need to get paid so that they can pay us. And so what you want to do is learn the skill set that will allow you to help companies make more money. That's fundamentally all it is. So if you can learn Tableau and you're a good analyst, so then you can figure out problems that other people cannot. So let's say that you go through the analyst and you're finding out, okay, I can actually eliminate 15% of our most troublesome customers through this one metric that I found. And you eliminate them, and that reduces the risk, increases the profits. That will make you more valuable. And so the more skills you have, that just allows you to do more things. So whether it's visualization through Tableau or coding, it doesn't really matter. But the whole thing is that's all you're trying to do. You're just trying to provide value to people. And so if you can learn the most valuable skill sets out there, you're going to be more attractive to more companies. And so make it simple. That's all it is. And if you go down this route, you will be able to cultivate the life that you want. So think about what you want your life to look like. What kind of value do I have to bring companies in order to get there? And then move that direction. If you don't know, coding is a great one. And coding is needed by every industry. So it's an easy give me. All you have to do is commit to it and learn it. Then you become a valuable asset. But you can use Tableau, you can do data analytics. There's a million ways to do it. I'm just saying that on my end, coding has been one of the most powerful ones today because it's leveraging computers. And basically, computers work for free. So that's why it's very powerful skill to learn today. Does that make sense?
Well said. Well said.
Right?
Yes.
Keep it simple. It's not that you don't complicate it. Don't think about anything. And if you, I'm going to give you a little tip too right now. If you don't know if Tableau is important, this is what you do. You go into a job search engine like Indeed or LinkedIn, like I said, type in Tableau, see how many jobs there are. This is what you do. So again, going back to the dream thing, think about what you want. What salary do you want? What kind of lifestyle do you want? Right? You get a good number. So you're like, okay, I want to get paid $70,000 a year. Then this is what you do. You go and you search up in LinkedIn, Indeed, and you go search up like Tableau, look up coding, all these things, and you look up how many jobs are there and how much are they paying. When you can get that ballpark, then you can go like, okay, this is the skill set that I'm looking for. Because if you're like, okay, I want to become a vacuum cleaning, engineer, but then no one's paying that, then no matter what you do in that skill set, you will not be happy because you're always going to be paid under what you want. So if you do it reverse, you figure out what you want, then you go search up on a job board to see how much are they paying for this stuff. Then you can work backwards. The more jobs there are, the easier it is to get a job because everyone is trying to hire for that. That's what it is, right? If there's very few jobs, it's more difficult to get a job. So that's why I said research and machine learning, because I don't think it's nearly as lucrative as you think it is. Data analysts, 100% lucrative because everyone needs them. But machine learning is on the very top end, and it's very difficult to justify, and they're very expensive. So that's why I think this is not you got to be careful with that. It might be fool's gold. But Tableau, data analyst, coding, all of these things, you look them up, you'll see the numbers back it up. Salary's good, the number of jobs good, put you in a good position so you can start to bully the companies. Because the more skills you have that is in demand, the more you can dictate how your life will look. And that's the trick to getting the life that everything you want, from the freedom to the pay to the remote work, all that stuff. Okay?
All right. Thank you for your insight. Thank you. Yeah, you hit all the points. Yeah, I mean, I think a lot. Yeah, you're hitting all the points. Yeah, thank you. Yeah.
So work backwards. Figure out what you want, work backwards. See what is required to get what you want. Okay? All right. Any other questions? All right. Well, I hope to see you guys in a class one day. I think you guys would all be exceptional in this. Okay? All right. Take care, guys.
What time is the class on Monday?
For what?
The next one of these.
The next one is here. Let me give you the link. So the next Meetup class will be here. But if you want to book a free class to just see what it's like to join us at Popcorn Robot, go to here, and then you can actually book a free class and see what it's like to actually be in the school.
Sounds good.
Okay?
Awesome. Thank you.
All right. Take care, guys. If there's no more questions, we can call it a night. All right. Good night.